Welcome to the Dose of Good podcast, where we celebrate good people and organizations working to make the world a better place. It can be easy to get caught up in the bad things going on in the world and forget about the good happening all around us each and every day. I'm your host, Erin, and I want to share these stories with you and give them the attention they deserve. I hope this podcast educates and inspires you and maybe even motivates you to share a dose of good in your community. Now let's get into today's episode. Today we are going to be speaking about the Pumpkin Wall Animal Farm and Sanctuary. This is a place that is fairly close to here, and I never really knew about until recently, but I'm so glad that I learned about them because not only are they helping to care for animals, but they're doing so much to give back to people in the community, including homeschool students, people with disabilities, people going through therapy, people who need community service hours, or just if you want to take a tour of the sanctuary or even have your birthday party there. There's such an array of opportunities available. Brendena, who runs the farm, explains it much better than I can. So let's get into the episode and hear from her on what they do. Joining me today is Brendena Fleming from Pumpkin Wall Animal Farm and Sanctuary. Thank you for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
And so what is the Pumpkin Wall Farm Animal Sanctuary and what is the mission?
Basically, our mission is to give back and to help people with any form of disabilities or struggling with mental health or just struggling with life. There's so much going on just in the world in general that people struggle with, whether it is just self-reflection, whether it's at work, whether it's at school, whether it's society, bullying, friends, family situations. I mean, the world is just the gamut, right, of things that can weigh heavily on our shoulders. So to be able to offer a venue, a place for people to go that can kind of tap out of technology and all of their problems and just find inner peace and remember that they're capable of having inner peace. And the great thing about the sanctuary is, while people can be sometimes judgmental and in their expressions or their tones or their words or just the way that they emanate their own personal projection of things they're going through onto other people, you'll never get that from animals.
Right.
You know, animals will see you coming and just be so happy to see you every single solitary time you come through that gate. And that feeling of being needed and wanted and just accepted, it can really remind people that there is good in this world, there's good within themselves, and that they don't have to always feel stressed for whatever reason. They can have a place that they can go to, whether it's once or regularly. It's really tailored to everybody's unique individual situations because everybody is unique and individual. Mm-hmm. So it's just about giving back.
That's great. I love that. And the fact, not only, like you said, the animals are so loving and accepting, but that it can give that feeling to people, of feeling more confident or comfortable in who they are kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So just for my understanding, so you've kind of covered that part of it as far as how you're helping humans and people. So, but don't you also, or do you do like rehabilitation for the animals?
We don't.
Oh, okay.
So just to tell you a little bit of a foundation on us.
Sure.
We started the sanctuary 10 years ago. We're in our 10th year there. September 15th will be our official 10-year anniversary. And I started it as a small hobby farm. Okay. We had a couple rabbits, a couple dogs, a couple cats, like a small handful of ducks and chickens. And my children were really young when we moved up here to New Hampshire. They were 1, 3, 5, and 5. So it was just about giving them an alternative variety to grow up in. Besides
Okay.
just a town with human activities, they would also
Sure.
have the animal aspect of it. I grew up on a farm. I grew up with animals, so I know how much it was great for me to have an escape when I needed it. So I wanted my kids to have that growing up. Very shortly after we moved here, I got a call from a friend in Barnstead, and she was like, Brendena, will you take 2 of my goats? I don't want my wethers anymore. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. And so me and my kids drove up there. We met them. We assessed them. I taught the kid. They were young. Obviously, it was just my boys at the time. We assessed the condition of the animals. I knew they were well cared for because I knew their owners. I knew their backgrounds. And we loaded them up into dog crates into the car and brought them home. And we just troubleshot, what do they need? What type of barn do I need? What type of run do I need? What type of hay feeder? Did a lot of Googling, a lot of researching, reached out to people I knew that had goats. And it was such a fun process just to learn from A to Z how to do this, that it just kind of snowballed from there. And once word kind of gets out that you have animals, you accept animals, you love animals, you become the I know someone you can call if you want to get rid of your animal type of person.
Okay.
So that's kind of that side of the nonprofit. When there are situations where we don't feel an animal being surrendered is a good fit for the sanctuary, we do one of two things. We either refer the people out to other rescues that we feel would be a good fit, or other people that we've heard are looking for a particular type of animal.
Okay.
And if it's a different type of situation where they need more involvement, we work with the animal owner and instruct them the steps that they need to take. And we try to help them find a home and introduce the two parties so that they both feel comfortable with the situation. We've done that a lot. In those cases, those animals never come to us. Okay. We're basically just offering the knowledge that we've learned over the years as to what makes things successful. Growing up with a farm, I have a background with livestock. And for 30 years, I was doing dog fostering with Big and Fluffy Dog Rescue and Great Dog Rescue New England out of Andover. So I had that foundation.
Okay.
So I knew the tools to focus on how to make the transition successful.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you that, having a farm and all these animals, how do you learn how to do that? But you grew up on a farm and then had that fostering experience. So yours is kind of lived experience then. Okay.
And, and the one thing that I preach all the time is I am literally an expert in nothing other than my own life, my own experiences, what's worked for me, what hasn't, and where I've gained my knowledge.
Sure, definitely. You touched on when you first started, but can you just go over again what kind of animals you have? So you said goats, and what else is there?
Absolutely. We have 3 cows, 5 alpaca, 5 donkey, 6 sheep, 35 goats. What else do we have? We have rabbits, geese, ducks, and chickens. 2
so
tortoise,
you really have grown. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Fun.
And it seems like a lot would go into caring for all those animals. So do you have a lot of help with that? I mean, you can't do it all yourself, can you?
Oh, no way can I. Yeah, it's been really a fun experience working with the community and the kids over the years, figuring out what's a good fit and how to accommodate that. And we've designed the sanctuary kind of like one of those kids' mazes. Where you start here with a pencil and kind of draw your way through. So that's how you go through the sanctuary. All the animals are not together. Right. They all have their own individual habitats, and it's 10 or less animals per habitat. And they have their housing and their runs, and it's all interchangeable, and you can walk all through it like a maze, you will. And it's also designed in a way that a lot of the animals can be with you through the whole walk. It's really a cool experience.
Oh, that's very neat. You also have a homeschool program. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. I had a mom come to me a couple years ago, and she said that she was going to be pulling her daughter out of public school and homeschooling her, and she was setting up her curriculum for the following year. And she wanted to incorporate an activity at a farm into her daughter's curriculum for the year. So being a 3-time woman entrepreneur, and this just being one of my businesses, I was like, yeah, let's do this thing. Now, what do you think about making her hour a week incorporate other homeschool kids? So it becomes like a social thing as well.
Yeah.
I'm offering the opportunity to other kids, not just one. And they get to experience what a care farm is about, what about animal rescue is about, entrepreneurship. I mean, I'm not a young chicken. I have quite a life of lived experiences that I can offer out. And, we're just, next week's our last week of our second year. And we've had all repeat kids from the first year plus new ones. And it's really exciting.
Yeah, that's great for them to get that hands-on experience, education, all of that.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. So I do a lot of programs where people get involved with the sanctuary. We have no paid employees, myself included, is a volunteer. We're all volunteers. The sanctuary is run 100% on volunteers and donations. And it is through the programs and teaching the art of animal husbandry and the sanctuary for both animals and humans that we are able to keep the sanctuary running. And by keeping the sanctuary looking beautiful, the animals healthy, well cared for, and happy, we are able to then offer the venue at no charge to people with disabilities that need to come and have a place.
that's great. How does that work if people want to come to the farm, with disabilities or whoever? Do they have to make an appointment? How does that work, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do not allow drop-ins, primarily because the sanctuary has a busier social life than I do.
Oh, okay.
And there's people there almost every day of the week at different time slots. And we like to not overlap unless the particular people in those particular time slots are okay with that.
Okay.
There is a lot of therapists that, due to confidentiality and HIPAA laws, prefer to have the sanctuary just to themselves while they're there for their sessions. I am not a therapist.
So they actually do therapy sessions while they're there.
So
okay.
I am not a therapist.
Yeah.
My late brother, who's 11 years older than me, was a family therapist, so I have a soft spot in my heart for therapists and the work that they do. But there is a lot of therapists and people in that profession that bring their clients out into the community.
Oh, okay.
So that's basically what we are. We're a venue. We're one of the places that they can bring their clients and do their sessions at the sanctuary. So we are a venue for them. So that's why we don't allow drop-ins. And you just email pumpkinwallfarm@gmail.com and you tell us what you want. We usually tailor it, again, to the individual because individuals are all different.
Right.
And they come in and they do their therapy sessions there, which
Okay.
it's really cool.
That's so cool.
So we're just the animal handlers.
Yeah.
in the
No,
venue.
that's good education for me even because you picture therapy like in an office and they're sitting around, not
Right.
out in a sanctuary, as you said.
Right,
So-
exactly. It's a new concept. It started out in the UK, and it has just kind of blown up around the world. In New Hampshire, we have 7 care farms. When I became a care farm on the National Registry of Care Farms, I was one of 4, and now we're up to 7.
Wow.
So New Hampshire is, it's accepting the concept.
Yeah, that's so cool
It's-
and great
yeah,
for
it's very
people
cool.
to have that, other option for therapy and everything.
Yeah,
So-
because, they can go to parks. I know a lot of establishments have yearly memberships to places like sports zones so that the therapists can go. But, not all people are into sports.
right.
So
Yeah.
it's nice to have something different. And there's a lot of animal lovers out there. And I'm sure there's a lot of farms that let people come as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm the only one out there. But we're definitely a very unique location
Yeah.
because we have so many different types of animals, which is really cool because there's people that come that just love cows. They don't care about anybody else but the cows.
Oh,
And there's
wow.
people that come that are all about the alpacas. So it's very cool. One of my favorite people that comes, I just love her. Her favorite animal is a goose.
Oh.
And it is just the coolest thing. And just to be able to, offer that
Yeah.
it's really special.
And
Makes me feel like I'm doing something good.
Yeah, and it must be so good for the animals too to have that human interaction all the time,
Yeah, and that's kind of how it started. I didn't seek out anything. If you had told me 10 years ago this is what it would be in 10 years, I never in a million years would have believed you. It was kind of one of those things that, while we were doing the animal rescue aspect of the sanctuary and expanding on our property, we had people driving by and like, what are you doing? What do you got going on there? And I kind of talk a little bit about what we were doing. And I was primarily creating the sanctuary and the care farm strictly for my own 4 kids.
Uh-huh.
And people were like, hey, we want in on that. Hey, can we, come there? Can we do this? Can we incorporate a program with our business? So we just morphed into what we are today. We have a lot of people that are just regular public that want to be a part of it. And they're like, is it just therapy? And no, it's not. We do tours. We do birthday parties. It doesn't even have to be a birthday party. It could be a group of friends that wants to get together and have lunch and spend a couple of hours in the sanctuary. I mean, we will custom tailor it to anything. And how it started was, as we were so busy living our lives and my husband and I working our jobs and creating the sanctuary, I always felt bad that the animals would go out and feed in the morning and would go out and feed at night and would pop in during the day here and there. But I always felt like I should be with them 24/7, even though that's not realistic.
Right.
And it doesn't happen at farms. So turning it into a care farm and having people come is my way of making sure that our animals get the attention that I feel they deserve.
Yeah.
And, maybe I'm crazy for thinking that way.
No, I think it's great. It's a win-win on both sides, So.
And I love that.
Yeah, definitely. And so you talked a little bit about the different ways people can visit. Do you take volunteers or help people, say, fill like community service hours?
We do. We do both. We do community service for the local high schools. A lot of the ROTC and Honor Roll Society and different programs require that the kiddos do community service, so they definitely can get their hours with us, and we issue the certificates for that. We also do it for the New Hampshire juvenile court system and some of the probation officers. So, yeah, we definitely do that. We accept volunteers because we run on volunteers.
Sure.
And I had the mindset as to what is the most efficient way to run things. So, so we've got it pretty broken down as to how volunteers can help us and what works, what doesn't work. And as long as we're all kind of on the same page, things roll pretty smoothly.
Yeah, so they don't need any particular training. You can give them whatever training they may need to volunteer.
Exactly. And we have a really cool program, an internship program.
Okay.
For adults that are, and for high school kids that want to get into a career with animals and they have no experience.
Sure.
So most of them, they want to get into be a veterinarian or get into the dairy world or get into working at a horse farm. And even though we don't have horses, I have had horses growing up, and I actually work with an organization where we bring kiddos to a horse farm. So I have a little bit that way. And at the end of the day, the way you clean up a horse stall is no different than anything else.
Okay.
You just clean it all out,
right?
And then put down a little diatomaceous earth to absorb any wetness or ammonia smell, and then a little bit of shavings, and you're good to go. It's all the same.
Yeah. So good training for whatever
Absolutely.
career path they want to take. That's great. And the same email they would use to get in touch about that? Okay.
Yeah.
I also saw that you do some summer camps.
Yes.
So what would that entail?
Oh my gosh, I am so excited about summer camp. We have a week it's actually farm camp, and it's a week in June, a week in July, and a week in August. And we always invite the parents to stay if they want to. It's Monday through Friday, 9 to 12. It's just 3 hours. And each day we're going to focus on a different animal. And we're going to start off with a little lesson about that particular animal, and then we're going to go into the sanctuary and do some hands-on learning about the animal. And then we're going to build a snack, which will be really fun. And then we're going to do a craft and a little project, and the 3 hours is going to fly by.
That sounds like a lot of fun and a unique experience for kids that you wouldn't get at, some other summer camps. So
Yeah. So being 2 years into running the homeschool, I got to really see where the kids were excited.
Oh, sure.
And where they were like, ugh.
Yeah.
So I kind of took all the excited parts and put it into this week program. So
nice.
Because that's not really about a volunteering situation. That's really about educating kids that might not have an opportunity to go to farms. and learn
Yeah.
a little bit about the animals, which is really cool.
And what age group is that open to?
You know, I've been asked that, and I don't have a
Cutoff,
cutoff on
okay.
that, because my theory is when it comes to farming, all ages can get involved with that.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, and of course, if they're not in school yet, the parents would have to be there.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Understandable. And then I also saw you have a program, I think it's called the Friends of Pumpkin Wall program.
Yes. So that one is for people with disabilities that don't have a therapist that takes them into the community.
Okay.
Where they would sign up with a parent or a guardian to bring them, an adult that would bring them.
Sure.
Because we don't take on any type of responsibility one-on-one. We're not a babysitting facility.
Right.
And that's important to say. We are just a sanctuary and the animal handlers. That's the only part of all visits that we handle.
Yeah.
And even like with the homeschooling, it's not a drop-off.
Okay.
The
parents
parents,
are there.
yes,
Okay.
the parents stay, and we really encourage families working together. We encourage moms and dads to work with their sons and daughters. It's great for them. It's great family building and bonding. And it takes that part of the babysitting aspect off of our shoulders.
Sure.
Because that's not what it's about.
Right.
What it's about is having people of all ages work together. Mm-hmm. And it's just been fun.
That's great. It obviously takes money to run a nonprofit. Do you take donations, like monetary donations? If so, how can people do that? Or do you have any fundraising events, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Like I said, the sanctuary does run 100% on volunteers and donations. And because there's animals involved, it is a very expensive nonprofit to run.
Yeah.
I mean, it costs thousands and thousands a month. I do work in a different field like everybody else. I've got a full-time job.
Okay.
And I initially was the primary funder from my other businesses.
Okay.
And today I have a ton of people that have kind of hopped on board with our mission to give back and have joined me. We have a sponsorship program where people sponsor the animals.
Oh, cool.
And they make monthly donations on behalf of a particular animal. And this year has been amazing. We have enough sponsors that literally covers all of the grain and shavings for the year.
Oh, good.
So that is huge.
Yeah.
And then we have businesses that will send us donations periodically, and people will choose us for their birthday fundraisers on Facebook.
Oh, nice.
We do tours. That's another way that we generate.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll throw up a fundraiser for a particular item. We've had people have been noticing what we're doing, and we've been nominated for different grants and have received them, so we're able to get different things. We have no loans or anything like that, which is nice. It's just kind of a pay as you go. Mm-hmm. And our overhead expense, because we're already pretty much already built out, so we don't need to really build out anything unless it's like fencing to replace fencing that's aging or housing that's to replace housing that's aging. It's really just veterinarian, and hay is a huge expense. So donations help us to take care of the animals.
Okay, and they can do
nice.
that right on your website.
Yes,
right? Okay.
yeah, www.pumpkinwallfarm.com.
Okay. And the other thing I was going to ask is maybe if they can't make a monetary donation or want to donate in another way, do you take like supplies?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We are on Amazon.
Okay.
And that's right on our Facebook page link, and I believe our website link to our Amazon wish list. But yeah, I mean, we have people that will send us a hay delivery for a month,
okay.
and we have people that will drop off some bags of grain.
Oh, great.
So absolutely, we welcome any help.
Okay.
Because it is, it's through the support of everybody
Right.
that allows us to offer this.
Yes.
And people are always like, how can you do this? Well, I can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Right.
know,
It takes
I know
help.
I can't.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I love the fact that I'm not alone doing this.
Yeah. Well, especially when it's something like what you're doing that gives back to so many other people. I think that's really important.
Absolutely.
So just a fun question I have, because you were talking about sponsoring the animals. Do you name the animals, or is that like not a good thing to do.
I didn't touch upon the animals we rescue that come to the sanctuary.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because this
Sure.
will answer your question in a roundabout way. When someone reaches out to us and they tell us that they want to surrender their animal, we ask a slew of questions and request pictures, because, a picture speaks 1,000 words.
Sure.
And if from that, the answers to our questions and the pictures, we think, hey, this might be a good fit, the next step is we go and we visit the animal at their existing location. Because we have children that come through the sanctuary, it is very important that none of our rescue animals come from kill pens or abuse situations.
Yeah.
We have a ton of amazing rescues out there that focus on that. And, touche to them, that's awesome. I love that. But for the particular niche that we have, where there's so many people there, whether it's depending on your level of disability, if you can't defend yourself, or little kids, I can't risk having an animal that could potentially turn or be dangerous.
Yeah.
So the animals we rescue come from people who have gotten cancer or have gotten other illnesses where they can't keep their animals. They've gotten divorced. They've lost their homes. They've lost their jobs. They've had some kind of life change. They've gotten their animal as a baby and raised it with love, but it's circumstances outside of their control. They can't keep it. Mm-hmm. It's those animals that we take in. And after we meet and assess the animal at their location and determine they are a good fit, the next step is that person comes to the sanctuary and takes a tour. And together we come to a conclusion that this is where they want their animal to go.
Okay.
And how we're going to build out the habitat or where we're going to incorporate them into. Uh-huh. Then the next step is they are to reach out to their veterinarian and have that animal seen, receive all the necessary shots to transfer to us or to tell their vet that they'll be coming to us, any nail trimming, husk trimming, you name it, being spayed, neutered. And then once the animal has the clear on the veterinarian end of things, then it transfers to us, it goes into a quarantine, and we gradually work it into where it's going to be.
Okay.
Then after that, it doesn't end there. We offer the prior owners 24/7 visitation for life of their animals.
Oh, that's amazing.
And yeah, it's such a great gift to be able to give them, because they're very torn up about losing their animals. And a lot of them have turned into our volunteers.
Oh, great.
Which is really fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, did I miss?
So they come with their names.
They come with, okay, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's what I was figuring, that they already came because they came from someone else. Oh, that's nice.
And that's how we have 3 pumpkins at the sanctuary.
Oh, are they all cats? Or?
No.
Oh.
No. One's a goat, one's a cow, and one is a bunny rabbit.
Oh, funny. Well, at least they're different species, so you can kind of, pumpkin the bunny rabbit.
Right.
Or so.
Yeah. And you know what's really fun about being able to give tours to the public is that because we do have a good amount of animals and they all have names, they all have stories.
Oh, yeah.
So every tour is a little bit different from the one before it, because it depends on who the audience is and what animals they're the most interested in. And they'll turn around and say, what's this one's story? What's this one's name? And people that know me know I can talk.
Yeah, that's great that they have their own little story. Each of them makes them unique and stand out and everything. So.
Exactly. I have a really cool story I would love to share.
Yeah, please.
So our homestead was built in 1869, and it's the original McKinney Dairy Farm. It was actually built for the Elmcrest family, who I understand it was a summer camp for them, which I can attest to by our oil bills.
Oh, gosh.
And at the time it was built, I was told that none of the trees were there, and they had a view overlooking all of Beaver Lake, which is really sweet. I would have loved to have had that. But then the McKinneys were there, and they had their dairy farm. And in the 50s, I believe Tinkham had bought it and subdivided the land and built some of the estates that are kind of around us, and kept a good portion of land with our property. So the house itself has so much history. And over the years, Perry McKinney, his grandson, Conrad, who is 87 years old, lives down in Massachusetts, and he's a detective, and he will frequently pass up 93 to work on different projects, and he has swung in on occasion. And I love walking the property with him because he will share so many memories.
Oh, wow.
of years past. And it's fun to incorporate them. And in fact, his twin, Perry, has written a little book. And I have that book. And it's just hearing the history of the property and be able to share those stories in our tours is a lot of fun. And what's even cooler than all that is for Conrad's birthday, his daughter and son-in-law got him a sponsorship to Pumpkin Wall Farm Animal Sanctuary.
Oh, fun.
So it's like kind of come full circle. I think we're the first people to bring cows back to the property.
Okay, but that's really cool that not only you get to know the history, but the history's been kind of shared with you through the family that lived there. And
Exactly.
to be able to continue that on and pass that on to others, that's really cool.
Yeah, they love what we're doing, and they're a part of it, and that's
great.
amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so is there anything that we may have missed about Pumpkin Wall Farm that you'd like to share with people? I know we covered a lot, but I always like to make sure we didn't miss anything.
Yeah, absolutely. How about where we got our name?
Yeah, that'd be great.
This is a story I love to share. So many, many years ago, long before I was born, my understanding is that my mom was driving home from visiting her mom, and she saw a bunch of pumpkins smashed in the road. So she pulled her car over and popped the trunk of her car and scooped them up. Now, this must have been about 60-some-odd years ago.
Okay.
Scooped them up and put them into the trunk of her car and brought them home and fed them out to her chickens. The following fall, pumpkins, vines started to grow on my parents' stone wall. And so my folks decided to name their homestead Pumpkin Wall Farm.
Oh, wow. That's such a fun story.
Yeah. And so my dad handmade a sign that hangs on my garage between my two garage doors today that says Pumpkin Wall on it, Pumpkin Wall Farm, and has a pumpkin on it. And when I was doing my taxes one year, my accountant had said for me to write off the money that I'm paying to run the sanctuary, I would need to turn it into a nonprofit. So that's how it turned into a nonprofit.
All right.
And part of turning a business into a nonprofit is you have to come up with a corporation name.
Okay.
So my mom was like, hey, why don't you do Pumpkin Wall Farm? And so we did. And unfortunately, my dad had passed a couple months before that, so he never got to see that. But my mom is 95 and still with us today, so she got to see it. And a really, really cool extension of this story is right after Halloween, the community is really big on dropping off pumpkins to us for the animals.
Oh, nice.
So, so the fall after my dad had passed, which would have been 2018, he died in September 2018, that following year, 2019, our compost pile blew up with vines and leaves, like the huge leaves about 2 to 3 feet wide.
Oh, wow.
And pumpkins everywhere.
Oh, fun.
And it's literally, they're from the animals eating the pumpkins given to them by the community.
Yeah.
Pooping out the seeds, going to the compost, and growing. Yeah. And every year that happens. And the homeschool kiddos love the day when I'm like, go on out and pick them. And they all run out and they pick all the pumpkins. They decorate, the sanctuary with them and feed them out. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I never would have known that, because I'm sure people must ask, like, do you have pumpkins on this farm? Is that why it's called Pumpkin Wall Farm? So that's great. And then I just have 2 last questions that I ask everybody that comes on. The first, kind of like paying it forward, trying to learn about other organizations, is which nonprofit you think we should have on the show next.
Oh my gosh, I wish I had the list of who you've already had here, because there's so many amazing nonprofits.
Well, that's okay. If you want to throw them out, I can let you know if we've had them or if we haven't.
Yeah, well, of course I love the Jason Flood Memorial.
They're coming Monday. So we are going to have them on, yeah.
Yep, they're fabulous. The Upper Room is fabulous.
I need to reach out to them. I can't find, they seem to only have a phone number, no email, so I may have to try calling them unless you have like a contact there.
Yeah, I would just call and introduce yourself.
All right.
And I'm sure they could give you an email that you could take it from there.
Yeah, because I know they do great things, so they'd be great to have on.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, thank you.
My pleasure.
And then the last thing, just kind of, again, going along with this podcast, and spreading the good and the kindness of things going on is, what does kindness mean to you? And can you share maybe an example or story of kindness that you've either experienced or witnessed?
Sure, I'd love to. What kindness means to me is, oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
It's tough, I know.
It's like I have so much to say.
Yeah. Hey, I love that. That's better than having nothing to say.
Right?
So.
Kindness to me, and I'm going to tailor it specific to the sanctuary, means teaching people that have never been around animals how to show animals kindness by coming in slowly and respecting their space, by not running and screaming through the sanctuary, and understanding that, we're just there to visit them. This is their home.
Right.
And how do they want to be treated? And passing that gift and knowledge on that can just magnify into in a life situation for kids. Like, always think about your surroundings. Always think about those people or animals around you and how they perceive you, not just your perception outwardly looking at the world. But, everybody that you meet, you might need to be a little bit different towards. And then, the animals receive the kindness, the people, the kiddos, whatever, they learn how to be kind. And then they learn to recognize what kindness is to be receiving.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you so much for being here today, for all the work that you're doing to help others and, take care of animals and all of that. And I just really appreciate you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Erin, for having me. It's such an honor, and such an honor to meet you. And, this is great what you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Sharing with the world, all the people that are out here doing stuff to try to help.
Yes, I think it's important because there's so much negativity a lot of the time, and all you hear about is the bad. So that's why I wanted to share the good, not only the good and kind things that are happening every day, but the amazing people that are making them happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learning more about this incredible place. Thank you, Brendena, for sharing it with us and letting us know more about it. I will include all of their information in the show notes and YouTube description, so you can go and check them out. If you're local, I recommend contacting them to sign up for a tour, check it out, see it for yourself. I plan to hopefully do that at some point. And even if you're not local, if you just want to support what they're doing, you can go to their website, make a donation, check out their Amazon list, all that good stuff. And as always, thank you for supporting the podcast. Please share with those you know so that more people can learn about the podcast and have a dose of good in their day. And check us out on Instagram and Facebook if you haven't already. Subscribe on YouTube and leave a review on your podcast app. It really helps us out, and hopefully will get us out to even more people so we can spread more goodness and positivity and all the kind things that are going on in the world. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon with a new episode.